Works by the laureate will be displayed at the table down in the hall later on, and I will also beg you to please stay seated and please turn your mobile phones on mute. This briefing will be finished at approximately 1:20. Okay, thank you.
Varmt välkomna till detta tillkännagivande. Jag heter Mats Malm och är Svenska Akademins ständiga sekreterare. Akademin har just sammanträtt och kan nu presentera sitt beslut om vem som tilldelas årets Nobelpris i litteratur. Very welcome to the Swedish Academy. My name is Mats Malm and I am the permanent secretary. The Academy has convened and can now announce its decision on the Nobel Prize in Literature. Nobelpriset i litteratur år 2022 tilldelas den franska författaren Annie Ernaux för det mod och den kliniska skärpa varmed hon avtäcker det personliga minnets rötter, främlingskap och kollektiva ramar. The Nobel Prize in Literature for 2022 is awarded to the French author Annie Ernaux for the courage and clinical acuity with which she uncovers the roots, estrangements and collective restraints of personal memory. Vi har inte lyckats få tag på Annie Ernaux på telefon, men vi räknar med att nyheten snart når henne. Efter flera år av karantän är planen att Nobelpriset överlämnas i Stockholm igen den 10 december enligt traditionen. We've not been able to reach Annie Ernaux on the phone yet, but we expect her to soon be aware of the news. And after all these years of quarantine and restrictions, we plan to present her with the Nobel Prize on December 10th here in Stockholm. Jag lämnar nu ordet till Nobelkommitténs ordförande Anders Olsson som kommer att berätta om pristagaren. Därefter kommer han och Nobelkommittéledamoten Ellen Mattsson att svara på frågor. I now give the floor to Anders Olsson, chair of the Nobel Committee, who will present the laureate. Subsequently, he and member of the Nobel Committee, Ellen Mattsson, will answer questions.
Varmt välkomna till denna presskonferens om årets Nobelpristagare i litteratur. Mitt namn är Anders Olsson, ordförande i Nobelkommittén, och vid min sida står Ellen Mattsson, också medlem i kommittén. Övriga medlemmar i kommittén som har förberett årets pris är Sandberg, Anne Svärd och Per Westberg. Adjungerad medlem i kommittén har varit Mats Malm, Svenska Akademins ständige sekreterare. A warm welcome to this press conference on the Nobel Prize Laureate of Literature 2022. My name is Anders Olsson, chair of the Nobel Committee, and by my side is Ellen Mattsson, also a member of the committee. The other members of the committee that have prepared the Nobel Prize in Literature 2022 are Sandberg, Anne Svärd and Per Westberg. Co-opted member of the committee has been Mats Malm, permanent secretary of Swedish Academy. Before opening up for questions, I would like to make a brief presentation in English of the laureate and her work. More information about our laureate is on the Swedish Academy's website and on nobelprize.org. This year's Nobel laureate in literature, the French writer Annie Ernaux, was born in 1940 and grew up in the little town of Yvetot in Normandy. Her setting was poor but ambitious, and in her oeuvre she consistently explores the experience of a life marked by great disparities regarding gender, language and class. Her literary work dealing with her class experience and rural background began early as a memory project with the ambition of widening the boundaries of literature beyond fiction in the narrow sense. In its reconstruction of the past, it leans on Marcel Proust's À la recherche du temps perdu, but she guides the search in an entirely new direction. Despite her consciously plain literary style, she declares that she is an, quote, ethnologist of herself, end quote, rather than a writer of fiction. Annie Ernaux's debut was Les Armoires Vides, came 1974, in English, Cleaned Out. And already in this work, she began her investigation of a Norman background, but it was first with her fourth book, La Place, in 1983, in English, A Man's Place, that she made her literary breakthrough. In this masterpiece, in a scant 100 pages, she gives an elucidating portrait of her father and of the entire social milieu that fundamentally formed him. In the portrait, she applies what would become her restrained and ethically motivated aesthetics, where her style has been forged hard and transparent. This launched a series of autobiographical prose works with a wider social context. One of these achievements is the brief and sensitive portrait of her mother called Une Femme. It came in 1987, in English, A Woman's Story. Another is La Honte, 1997, in English, Shame. In many ways a continuation of the portrait of the father, analyzing the social roots of shame that would recur in many of her books. A special place in a production has a deeply engaging, clinically restrained narrative about the 23-year-old narrator's illegal abortion, L'événement, in 2000. In English, it's called Happening. Annie Ernaux's writing is subordinated throughout to the process of time, and nowhere else does the power of social conventions over our lives play such an important role as in Les Années, it appeared in 28, in English, The Years. It is a most ambitious project and has been called the first collective autobiography. It won her an international reputation and a raft of followers and literary disciples. There is in Ernaux no effective memory, as in Proust, that can transport us directly to the source of truth. In Les Années, the spontaneous memory of the self is substituted by the third person of collective memory, suggesting what songs are sung, what stories are told, or what trends are ruling at a particular time. And those conventions quickly pass by. In Ernaux, personal and collective memory have merged. In Annie Ernaux's social perspective, the mechanisms of shame have a special force, and in Mémoires de Fille, from 2016, in English, A Girl's Story, she uncovers them from another angle. In this work, she confronts her self-image as a young woman at the end of the 1950s, when she loses her virginity at a summer colony in Orne, Normandy. The reactions to her behavior that she contributes to make known have the effect that she is expelled from the community. For half a lifetime, the writer had chosen not to deal with a painful event, but now the time has come. A key passage runs, quote, "When you want to clarify a prevailing truth, this is always missing. The lack of understanding of your experience at the moment when you make your experience." End quote. Therefore, it is very difficult for her to recognize herself as the person that she once was. Annie Ernaux manifestly believes in the liberating force of writing. Her work is uncompromising and written in plain language, scraped clean. And when she with courage and clinical acuity uncovers the contradictions of social experience, describing shame, humiliation, jealousy, or inability to see who you are, she has achieved something admirable and enduring. The floor is now open for questions. Please.
Jag skulle veta om det här kan ses som ett pris till autofiktionen.
Svar nej. Nej, men det är ett pris till ett författarskap som det alltid är. Autofiktion är också ett ganska problematiskt begrepp. Jag är inte säker på att Annie Ernaux själv skulle välja ett sådant. Det här är ett livsverk som är präglat av ett sökande efter sanning. Ett outtröttligt, skoningslöst sökande efter sanning som handlar, en sanning hon söker i sig själv, om sig själv, men också om sitt förflutna och den värld hon växer upp i. Och jag kan säga så här att i det som kallas för autofiktion så stöter man ofta på efterrationaliseringar, förklaringar, att man på något sätt vill förklara sig själv eller ibland försköna, ibland är det ett element av terapi att skriva om sig själv. Men inget av detta finns i Ernaux skrivande. Det är bara ett fullkomligt rakt, naket, så långt det är möjligt, totalt ärligt sökande efter det som det man kan kalla för en sanning. Att komma så nära denna sanning som möjligt.
Questions?
Hello, we're from Nordic Chinese Time. So the author, she touches a lot of social problems such as abortion and her very personal experience in her novel. Nowadays, the world is facing a lot of challenges. So I'm just wondering, by giving this award to her, is there any specific message you want to deliver to the whole world?
We concentrate on literature and literary quality, and we don't have any more message to the world. But it's very important for us also, of course, that the laureate has a universal consequence in her work, that it can reach everyone. And in that respect, I think the message is that this is literature for everyone.
David Keaton from the Associated Press. I'm sure there's lots of editors and readers and publishers around the world that are looking here today and thinking, still a European. Do you have anything to say to the people in North America, in South America, in the Middle East, in Africa, in Asia, who are yet to see one of their authors represented here in the prize, which is often presented as the most prestigious literary award?
We have many different criteria, and you cannot satisfy all of them. We can only be sure that what we strive for, that is literary quality. Every year you have to satisfy that criterion. But one year we gave the prize to a non-European writer. Last year, Abdulrazak Gurna. This year we give the prize to a woman. And in both these cases, I think we have very few laureates, as you know, in the past. So we try, first of all, of course, to broaden the scope of the Nobel Prize. But our focus must be on literary quality, first of all.
Any other questions? Or this part of the briefing will be over and we will move on to the pre-booked interviews. If no, another question? Okay.
Hi, I'm Ming Xiao, also from Nordic Chinese Time. I would like to know why they're all committees members of the jury. Are you unanimous in awarding the Nobel Prize for the literature to this work?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear what you said. I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question?
There are 18 committee members of the committee. All the 18 members are all agree with this work to be the Nobel Prize?
We cannot divulge our discussions. They are always interesting and intense. The only thing we can give to the world is the result of these discussions. And the result is what we present to you today. And we are all united behind this year's laureate.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Det här är ett namn som ofta förekommit just i Nobelprissammanhang, så jag tänkte bara fråga hur länge har ni haft henne i åtanke som pristagare?
Det är en fråga som vi inte besvarar. Men det kan ju inte komma som någon direkt överraskning att valet faller på Annie Ernaux idag. Hon är ett välkänt namn i hela den litterära världen. Och hon har översatts till väldigt många språk. Så att det är klart att vi har läst henne länge, som ni också förmodligen har gjort.
Fler frågor? Any other questions? Okay, then we end this part of the briefing, and thank you all for coming, and we'll move on to the pre-booked interviews.